Howdy, folks, and welcome to episode 167 Hot Town Summer in the City. Back in my neck, feeling dirty and gritty. And definitely so lately. It's been hot and humid here in west central Illinois, and I've been tearing apart and rebuilding the back deck with the help of my lovely sweet wife. Um, we're about halfway done with um, getting the boards back on, and we're putting between 3 and 5 boards down each evening after work. Takes about 30-45 minutes because, like I said, it's just the two of us, and I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm guessing at it. But yeah, things are going well. McMurray will be on here shortly. I am not sure if we're going to have a Reese sighting or not. I've sent him the link, so we'll have to see. Walkabout Games was in earlier. He said, "Hey, I'll be back with my tactical squirrels." Charles says, "Evening, we had another lizard trying to break into the house. I discouraged him as politely as it can be. Depending on the size of this lizard, um, the politeness might not be too polite." Hissy Cat says, "Lizards are cool. They make great cat toys." Again, depending on the size of the lizard. If we're talking 3 foot iguanas, I don't know how much of a cat toy that is. The cats might become iguana toys. I don't know. Richard Keenan's in the house saying hello. Hi, Richard. Thanks for dropping in. Telemachus, greetings all. Waving. How you doing? Hissy, cats are upstairs. First lizard was in my room for some days. Well, maybe he was just wanting to hang out where it wasn't sunny. 5 inches. Oh yeah, that's a little dude. Don't worry about him. Um, Walkabout. I promise my squirrels won't attack all the nuts in the room. Well, it is definitely a target-rich environment. We'll just say that. Also depends on the size of the cat. Yes, it does. It does depend on the size of the cat. Clark, being weighing in at about 17 or 18 pounds, is a hefty beast, and he could probably take on anything up to at least his size, I would say, when it comes to lizards. I'm not sure what he would do with a lizard that big, but who knows? Who knows? Want to start off with right now, and I think for the next 2 days, Wiley Games has got 25% off all of their downloads. So if you have not yet got a copy of Arena of Blood or a copy of the Grim Dark uh, Codex Galactica Grim Dark edition in PDF, now's the time to pick it up because you can get it for 25% off. The only way to get 25% off is to get it from wiley-games.com. It's an automatic discount, so go ahead, head on over there, grab it. If you don't have Arena of Blood yet, PDF 25% off. Can't beat it. It's a fun game. Uh, lots of things. I know Warmutt is planning on doing some post-apocalyptic stuff with it. Um, I know my brother is interested in doing big stumpy robots and kaiju. So kind of like Pacific Rim type stuff. So there you have it. Uh, Lots of different ways. I mean, it's just like Fistful of Lead in the fact that, yeah, it's written for Roman gladiators, but who knows? You know what, Chris? Um, I've I've thought about taking my 1/1000 scale Star Trek ships and seeing if I couldn't come up with a way to do use that game for, you know, one-on-one ship combat. Um, I think it could be done. Um, so you could do like the Enterprise versus Reliant and the Mutara Nebula. Um, we'll have to see. Um, Speaking of starfighters, before we go too much further, um, I'll swing back around to starfighters here in a second. The other thing, of course, to mention is head on over to geekgamingusa.com for your geek gaming scenic supplies, for your ready base material and your geek gaming fast drying basing glue. Stuff is amazing. As I said before, it makes your crappy models look good, your good models look great, and your great models look amazing. So head on over there. If you are going to order, put a little note and to let McMurray know that you saw it here. You're not going to get a discount or anything, but he might send you something nifty, uh, something that doesn't throw the weight off, just to say, hey, thanks for watching. So, Charles says, Joy of Wargaming has been doing some vids on starfighters. Awesome. Yeah, so about starfighters, Asmodee late last week, came out and confirmed that they are pulling the plug on Star Wars X-Wing miniatures and Star Wars Armada. They are no longer going to be developing for those games. So if you want any of those ships, now's the time to buy them. And apparently, people are already looking to dump all of their models on the market. Somebody said there's a Discord channel out there somewhere, and people are already looking to, uh, you know, just dump them as they can to get rid of them. Now, Asmodee did come out and say that they were still going to support the tournament scene at least through the first part of next year. I don't know what that means. I just know that they are not adding any additional stock out there to the stores. So if you see it and you want it, buy it. Otherwise, you're not going to get it because it is going away. Uh, Walkabout says dumb prices on some hard to find ships, $300 or more. That's ridiculous. Hi, Mike. Greetings, everyone. Welcome, Mike. Thanks for dropping in, buddy. I would like to get more ships, but if they're going to be stupid pricing like that, I that I don't need. I no. I'm looking for bargain basement. I'm looking for $10 a ship. you know, um, just have to see what pricing happens. I have a suspicion that the big ships for X-wing, like um, the blockade runner or the supermassive star destroyer, those are gonna skyrocket in price, which is stupid in my opinion. But hey, what are you gonna do, right? Um, yeah, Chris, check in the local store tomorrow. Sounds like a good idea. Charles says meandering Mike is marvelous. It's marvelous, Mike. And Mike, of course, is laughing and thinking Charles. Yes, it's marvelous, Mike. Marvelous. Um, what's funny is my dad is his name's Marvin, and all of his fraternity brothers call him Marvelous Marvin. Um, so there you have it. Mike, you're in good company if you're being called Marvelous. My dad's a pretty cool dude, so for what, near 80-year-old cat. He's pretty good. He's pretty hip cat. So I think Skullforge showed fighters recently, so I'm hopeful we see files. So do I. So do I. I like bargains. Screw those price gougers. Exactly. Exactly. So I just I'm not same thing with like little action figures. Um, I just I've got this on card Lando Calrissian, and I'm gonna hold on to it so I can sell it in 10 years for $400. Not garbage. Um, most of my X-wing I got out of Barnes and Noble bargain been a long time ago. That's what I'm talking about there. Especially when they went from, and that's where I missed out when they went from uh, version one to version two. I am sure there were stores out there that were dumping the version one stuff left and right, and I missed out on it. Well, because I'm in the middle of West BFE, and you know nothing around, so to speak. So, but yeah, that's the big news in gaming that I've run across. Oh, um, I think I might have mentioned it briefly last week. Um, Lock and Load has finally got confirmation that their boxes of the three games that have been on GameFound for the last 2.5 years are finally getting put on into the container. Um, and then it'll get moved to the shipping yard, and from the shipping yard, it'll get loaded onto a ship. Once it gets loaded onto a ship, they will be uh, posting the name of that ship so it can be tracked. Once it's on the ship, it probably takes about 2 weeks to get from China over here to the States. I think it's probably gonna, if it's if it's anything like the previous games, it's gonna leave Shanghai and end up in Seattle. So we'll see. Uh, but for those of you that have been waiting, as I have patiently, for World War at 85, or I think it's the Ju 87 Stuka, or the whatever it's called, the Napoleonic game that I've I've seen in passing. It looks pretty. Um, those are finally getting boxed up and getting shipped. So my finger, that's happening again. Hold on, let me get rid of that bar garbage. There we go. All right. Joel says you're still bargaining. You have to buy it. I saw a game I was interested in, not a war game, but it was 50% off at Barnes and Noble. 2 days later, they were all gone. Stupid me. Yeah, if you see it, especially now, it's with the Star Wars stuff. Um, if you see it and you want it, either buy it right then, or make arrangements with who has it to come back later when you can. Uh, so yeah, long time ago, at Barnes and Noble, far far away. Yeah, Pussycat, you're right. That's good news. It's shipping. Yes, yes. Shouldn't put all three of those late GameFound titles on the same shift. If it sinks, Lock and Load will be sunk. Uh, hey, that's how the cookie crumbles, I guess. I'm waiting for the Naps game. I for whatever reason, Napoleonics has never really caught my interest. I can't explain why. Other than that first game convention that I really ever went to at the Pipe Fitters Union in Kansas City, from across from the now gone Bannister Mall uh, in Kansas City, where saw this beautiful Napoleonics Army in 28 millimeter, and I Said, "Hey, isn't that a beautiful game?" And the guy next to me, long beard, beardy bastard. Oh yeah, it's all wrong. What do you mean it's all wrong? It looks great to me. No, the undercuffs or the whatever they're called, the turnbacks are the wrong color of blue for that regiment. Really? Okay. If you're the type of guy that plays this game and that's the type of people I'm gonna have to deal with, forget it. What do you think of these Space Marines over here? I don't do anything with Space Marines. Great. That's the game I'm gonna play. Um, Walkabout says he's finally getting an RPG book he backed in 2020. It's that's I have never had a real problem with anything that I have backed. Um, but I'm also a patient person when it comes to this type of stuff. Now, my wife will tell you I'm very impatient when it comes to other things, especially when I'm working on a deck. Um, I had to go buy a new drill because the one I had somehow ended up on the other side of the yard, and then it wouldn't anymore. So, um, Napoleonics is like 40K. It's not the game; it's the players. True, very true. I don't know. I just was never interested in line formation, rank and flank type formation gaming. In the history itself, it's intriguing, but it's nothing that nothing that really gets my motor going. Um, I have I am it's been 2.5 years now, I think, that I've been listening off and on to a book about Gettysburg, and it just I don't know. There are people out there like Hexy who just absolutely loves the U.S. Civil War, um, and I don't know. I a lot of it I think it has to do with um, where I grew up in Texas. It wasn't something that was really talked about much. So, it wasn't. Yeah, we learned about it. We learned a little bit about it in history class, but we never really talked about, the battles. So it never intrigued me. So, Um, Scala says kick started adjective the state kick startled the state of receiving something you backed on Kickstarter so long ago you no longer have any idea what it is. Well, there you go. I back STL mostly now, but even that can be hit and miss. Fair enough. Get your motor running, head out on the highway. Yeah, born to be mild. Uh, Looking for adventure and whatever comes our way. Yes, Hexy, you do. Um, what book? March Harewood wants to know which book, Chris. Chris or Charles says, Chris, Napoleonics. I was the same. I find it interesting, but I just don't find it intriguing. I can't explain it other than that. World War II, yeah, absolutely. World War One naval, I'm starting to find more and more interesting. Um, but and really for World War One, it's more of the non-European, France front. The other stuff during World War I that I'm finding more interesting. Because let's be honest, how exciting is it to read and learn about the Battle of the Somme? That's some depressing stuff right there. Um, it's just a month long battles where literally hundreds of thousands of are wounded or killed. Ugh, yeah. I love the uniforms, the pomp, the history. I love it all. You know what? And that's what makes the world go round. Um, that everybody likes something different. If we all liked the same thing, it would be really damn boring, to be honest. Uh, Black Madonna is because the author got sick. Well, hopefully the author is feeling better. Um, so 28 millimeter Napoleonics, go big or go home. If and this is something I told myself, and I've told myself with Civil War, because I do want to get more some more Civil War stuff going, because I'm starting to get a familial a family connection. We're starting to learn more about uh, how our family interacted during the Civil War. Um, but 20, 28 millimeter just isn't going to work for me, because you have to have so many figures to make it look good. And I'm not a big fan of painting, as most of you know. Um, so if I was to do Napoleonics, it would probably be at the biggest 15 millimeter. I'm thinking probably closer to what I'm doing with my Civil War, and go 6. Hell, I might even go nuts like McMurray and go 2 millimeter for Napoleonics, um, and not worry about the turnbacks or undercuffs or whatever the hell they're called. Um, who are those? Those the Russians? Russians are green, right? Yep, green. Who are those? Those are the Prussians, right? The Prussians are white with some blue. Yep, white. That's that's what I would do to Napoleonics, because in my opinion, what makes Napoleonics impressive is large. It's same thing with ancients, like the Romans, is large blocks of soldiers, because that's how they fought, in large blocks. And it, in 28 millimeter, it just looks like a couple of guys taking a flag out for a walk. Um, that was. I don't know if it was that was coined by Henry Hyde, but I've heard him say it, so I'm going to give him the attribution there, because that's where I've heard it from. Um, and there have been some armies, like I said, you know, where I've seen, 128 millimeter dudes, and it looked amazing. But man, that's just so much to do, so much to paint. Like, ugh, no thanks. Um, Charles says until Worthington's Waterloo book game, then White Dog Games Crisis on the Right place in the night. 1815, 7 war games now. Oh, very good. Frank is better. Good. Glad to hear that. Glad to hear that. 172nd Napoleon for me, running out of space in the man cave. I don't know how you're running out of space in the man cave, because apparently you have a man cave the size of my entire house. But fair enough. Um, March here, 1,000 subscriber special Borodino. Telemachus, paint those buttons. No. Mm-mm. Nope. And then Charles says, Napoleon minis, never. I love all the scales. Each offer something. Yeah, agreed. Each does offer something. You know, um, I like, I do like uh, 28 to 32, 35 millimeter stuff. You know, this scale stuff for Star Wars. I love it because you can make them very characterful. Same thing with the Quar. I love this scale of Quar, right? Um, because they're very characterful. But if I'm working with uh, if I'm working on something that I want to do company level, it's going to be 15 millimeter, like this guy right here for my U.S. Army, infantry, uh, circa 1944-45. And yes, that is 36th Infantry Division with the blue T patch. Um, you know, Mike got another 2 pallets of games. Yeah, I don't doubt that. I, yeah. Nord, how are you doing, my friend? Welcome to the show. Glad you're here. Um, Nordic says, his cat, Hizzy, did you see that you and I were flying backwards while attacking Stukas in a Ruff's game? Not quite sure how you fly backwards, but all right. And then D minor is pretty good. So, um, so speaking of Quar, before I speak of Quar, we're going to speak of McMurray. How are you doing, sir?
What's up, gents?
Glad you could make it. How are you doing?
Oh, not too bad.
So, are you done stomping around in the woods for the year, or you're going to go
No, I
back?
just temporarily wound up having to come back to do some work stuff in the morning. So
Right.
I hiked out, got in the car, drove like a demon, trying to get back here in time to hop on here.
Well, good to hear that.
Hell yeah. I mean, I was, after last week missing, not sure if I'm going to make next week, not sure if I'm going to make the week after. I was one of those, nope, we're getting out. We're going to say hi to the boys and everybody.
Yep.
I
Yep.
see walk about. How you doing, guys? It's good to see everybody. We're getting after it. I saw the title of the episode is Hot Town Somewhere in the City. Can confirm.
Yeah.
It's hot
Yeah.
as fuck.
It is.
It is hot as fuck. And in no good way.
Yeah.
There's
No.
nothing good about any of that.
So I've I grew up in South Texas where it's hot and humid,
Fair.
but I don't know why. Well, I know why. I don't know how humidity at the same level of humidity here as it is in San Antonio where I grew up, but this is by far I'm not going to say worse, but it's a different humidity.
It's a different kind of hell, man.
It's a
Yesterday,
different.
it was 100% humidity, 95 degrees, and spitting rain on us, which is a real interesting and shitty new place to be. It's not,
Yeah.
that doesn't happen too terribly often. Usually it rains, like crazy and then stops.
Yeah, and then it just gets just disgusting.
Exactly. We're in a real weird place where, like, it was almost like if we could hit 102% humidity, where it just, like, formed droplets in the air.
Yeah.
Like, it was hot enough you're sweating your ass off and not raining hard enough to wash any of that nasty shit off, just enough to get your shirt and your pants just soaked after about an hour and a half of hiking.
Oh, yeah.
And just be the stankiest, chafingest mess. I mean, you could have deloused me with Gold Bond yesterday. Like a straight up World War I delousing station, where you take all your clothes off, they just hose you with the powder. I couldn't have been happier.
In 13 minutes, it would have been kicked on like concrete.
Oh my god, yeah, dude. It would have been cracking off me. I would have looked like that doofus in I would have looked like that guy from Game of Thrones where he's got the stone skin.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and it would have burned so good though. I'll tell you what, it would have burned so good. That and I guess as you age, your allergies change.
Yes, they
Because I
do.
got poison ivy for the first time in my life. Real
Ooh.
good, real strong.
Sorry to hear that, brother.
Big oozy blisters and shit. Yeah, it was something else, man.
Well, I got blisters, but not from that. This is from even wearing gloves, tearing out my deck
Yeah,
on Saturday. Even wearing gloves, I was.
I'm good with the ouchie blisters. Ouchie blisters are cool. Itchy, scratchy blisters, not cool.
Not so much.
Not cool, man. Not cool, man.
I've been very lucky to have never had poison ivy, poison oak, poison sumac.
Well, I've never gotten it before. I know I've traipsed through poison ivy.
Oh yeah,
before multiple times in my life. Honest to God, probably last summer I traipsed through poison ivy because there's not a single place that I walked in the last 2 weeks that I haven't walked in the past, several summers.
Sure.
But sweet Jesus.
Now my brother, he just gets downwind of that shit and he breaks it up.
Well, yeah, right? So, it started out down by both my ankles. It looked like I just got into the meanest patch of chiggers you ever seen.
Yeah.
Right? And then they started popping out these little blisters that started popping, and I was like, well, that's new. That's terrifying. But I know if I get a chigger, I can scratch it, or I can ignore it, and in about 4 to 8 to maybe 16, 24 hours, I'll pretty much be gone.
Yeah.
It's going to be nutty till I get there, but it'll be gone. These did not go away. They rapidly progressed up both of my shins to my knees, and I was like, oh, what is this?
Oh, no.
What is this nonsense, this fresh hell we have discovered?
Yeah.
So, that was...
Calamine lotion is your friend.
What's up?
Calamine lotion is your friend.
Well, what I wound up doing was, we got one of our program last night was catching fish and frying fish, and we caught some big ass catfish, which I was surprised by. But we took all of our little bluegill and stuff we were catching, cut them in half, stuck them on big static lines on about 10-foot lippy saplings we had stuck in the mud on the side of the lake, all around a couple of coves, and then just waited. And we got some, 18 to 20, 22-inch bullheads, and those are not very good. They're not very good eating. What they are good for is cutting up and catching bigger catfish.
There you go.
But so we got some big old hunking catfish, and then I tell you what, the 3 staff and 11 scouts, we ate catfish last night until we were all about to bust a gut. But
so instead of meat sweats, you had fish sweats.
Dog, yeah. Well, it was also a fresh hell of a stink. But the nice thing is, we had put dish soap at that at our campsite so we could clean off, everything that we used. So luckily, I think I cut the oil off of the poison ivy.
Yeah.
Before, and I mean, again, I'm used to, don't scratch.
Yeah.
Don't scratch, right? This is 17th year of doing this. I can not scratch when I get, chiggers all over
your
ankles, legs, everything. For those of you who are not familiar with the Midwestern United States, a chigger, Chigger, is a teeny tiny little, invisible to the naked eye bug that bites you. And then I don't know if it burrows into your skin, or if it just drops off, or does whatever other godforsaken thing it's been put on earth to do, which I'm pretty sure God was just asleep at the switch and those things snuck through.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it's right up there with mosquitoes. There is no reason for them to be in existence.
Correct. At least you can swat a mosquito though. You can kill those little bastards.
Oh yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
but so they like going places, where either A, they can when they brush up off of, the tops of grass, or
Hmm.
B, kind of like ticks, they like going to high friction, high heat areas. So like your waistline,
Oh yeah.
where the belt line on your pants, your
Hmm.
crotch, the
Yep.
back of your knees, everything. But anyways, so yes, we're not just tossing out hard R's everywhere. These are in fact real things. Um, what was spotted in town, Nord? I guess
Uh,
LaCroix.
ow.
You're right, Toll. Except for the last time the place caught on fire, it took like 3 weeks to get it under control. And while natural fire is good for a lot of places, it was kind of good for there, but we're not going to do that. Because then I don't get to wander around in the middle of nowhere.
Right. Right. Uh, but
Good Lord, Chris Long.
oh, he's talking about his
City.
big yeah, his big city. Oh,
Remember when he
North.
was going to do one city block?
Yeah. Yeah, apparently, that city block has blossomed into a metropolis.
Yeah, no shit. He's making
North
the.
said a black bear was seen in the city park.
Oh, nice, nice. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool. There was a every now and then bears pop up in St. Louis, right? And at one
Yeah.
point in time, when I was in the academy, there was one in Brentwood here, and it was seen. So they were like updating us on this, right? Because it was one of those like, this is kind of cool. You don't see them inside of St. Louis very much. Usually, you see them kind of on the periphery. But this
Was
sucker managed to get pretty into St. Louis.
was that
And
Bruno, the one that came from Wisconsin all the way through Illinois?
I have no idea, but they were keeping us updated on this, right? Like, okay, 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 and it's wandered all over by the house, right? And it's getting sighted everywhere by the house because there's a big long park pretty close to here
Yeah.
that connects a bunch of other parks. Because what they did was a they took what used to be a big thoroughfare and a streetcar line, and they made it into a park, right? So it's a park that's
Yeah.
about 30 to 40 yards across that runs between two major thoroughfares and other parks on both ends. And so people were seeing it in this park, and I'm like, man, tell you what, I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna go for a jog with the biggest thing I can carry, and hope for an Eric Cartman is come right for me moment. Reese would appreciate this, and they wound up smoking it at like 5:45 p.m. in a tree, maybe a quarter of a mile from here.
Wow.
I don't know. It was okay. It was okay. It wound up like jacking up a dog, so they shot it, and it was one of those. Oh man, it was my time, Coach. It's McMurray's time. But
Yeah.
that's what happens when you have a Chihuahua type puppy that wants to eat a bear, and it's like, no, that doesn't play here, son. Sorry,
Yeah.
this thing weighs like 3/4 of a ton. Look at the damn thing. It was big too. It probably didn't weigh 3/4 of a ton. It is a big bear.
Yeah. Black bears can get decent sized.
Black bears get decent size. Cinnamon black bears. So brown black bears. They're the ones that apparently you got to worry about. Like those are the ones in New Mexico and shit that'll really get after it. That have real problems with eating out dumpsters and then getting a little overzealous in the chain of human consumption to bear consumption.
Sure.
They get a little ahead of themselves, so to speak. But yeah, it's yeah. On the bright side, so those are what they run into, Chris, all the time at Philmont. Causing trouble are cinnamons. So brown black bears. Luckily, just like with mountain lions, they don't run into issues with them at Philmont nearly as often as the folks in the state park immediately to the north of the property who routinely get, jacked up and swiped at and grabbed and shit because, turns out when you talk about, hey, here's what you should do to avoid bears, or hey, here's what you should do to avoid mountain lions. If God forbid you see one, here's what you should do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The number one rule when going to Philmont: don't have something that smells in
Yeah.
your tent.
Correct. Which includes, to a certain extent, and we were there one year, and I don't know if it was because of the drought that was going on, something, I don't know. But the bears were getting extra feisty because natural food was a bit of a premium. And it was one of those like, yo, if you spill food on your shirt, put that shit outside your tent.
Yeah.
Like, wait, what? Yeah.
Throw that into the bear bag and hoist that son of a bitch 30 feet up.
See, they were telling us to not even bear bag it. It was like, dude, just put it outside. If your shirt gets taken, your shirt gets taken, your tent doesn't get taken, your food doesn't get taken. Like,
yeah,
leave that bitch as a sacrifice to the bear gods.
Right. Well, like, I can't remember, like, it was a month, maybe a month and a half before I went in 1986. There was a kid that got dragged out of his tent by a bear.
Yeah.
And the reason was he and his buddy had a deodorant fight before they went to bed.
Yeah. And I almost guarantee, see, and that's the other funny part, right? Is because there are so many bear protocols in place, most bears, like within Philmont, as soon as you like make yourself apparent as a person, are like, no, never fucking mind, I'm out of here, bye bye.
Yeah.
So if I had to imagine, that was probably a rather entertaining moment for that bear to realize, wait a minute, you're not food, you're dude.
Mm-hmm.
Food, not dude. Food, not dude. That was, we got. So again, in the instance when you are confronted by an overly hungry bear, or just a confused bear or whatever, same with mountain lions, you make yourself as big as possible and you make noise and, you do whatever.
Yeah.
And exactly. So that's what we started. Both times I went to Philmont, I was aged out, so I was an advisor, and that's what we had our scouts do. And then the second time we went to Philmont in 2011, one of the rangers had worked when we did that and was having us do that shit. You should, instead of just yelling random shit, you yell, dude, not food, dude, not food, dude, not food, dude, not food. Just because, honestly, when you can yell something entertaining and funny, it's a whole lot easier for a 14-year-old to remember. Oh, yeah. No, we're going to yell "dude, not food" at the bear, not just random stuff. So yeah, that was crew 2007 705 R1's contribution to Philmont Scout Reservation history is the "dude, not food" chant at bears and mountain lions and everything else.
Yeah, reminds me of Finding Nemo. Fish are friends, not food.
Exactly. Yeah. Just one of those. No, guys. All we're gonna do is we're gonna yell the dumbest shit we can think of at bears, mountain lions, and hope they listen and understand English, especially when it's high pitched and frantic. But hey, nobody got eaten. And then Jimmy T had a bunch of other people hollering at it, so that's cool.
There you go. Reese says, remind me to never take McMurray on my next bear hunt. I'll never see another one after he yells, dude, not food.
Well, to be honest with you, if we could have carried 10 gauge or 45-70, then we wouldn't have had to yell, dude, not food. Then it would have been, dude, you're food. Dude, you're food. Dude, you're food.
Yeah, but bear is greasy, man.
Whatever, man. You can still eat it. I've eaten bear before. Fuck it. Yeah. It's fine with me. Let's do it. Yeah. By all means, Reese, holler, buddy. We can do this.
So one of the things I was going to do tonight on the show was talk about how the projects are going that I've been working on. I know you've you've put your projects on hiatus because you're doing your wilderness thing, which is cool. I'm glad you're able to do that because if I wasn't as old, and I'm not that old, I'm not saying that I'm old, but I feel old when it comes to outdoor shit anymore.
I'm not
Uh,
gonna lie to you. We made an especially hiking as program itinerary this summer.
hmm
So despite the fact that it's only 5,200 acres, we cover over the course of 4.5 days hiking a good 30 something miles. And it's
that's
all in the foothills of the Ozarks. So while we're not going, 1,000 feet in elevation change, it is
yeah,
basically constantly either uphill or downhill.
uh,
I am in the best shape of my life, and I am feeling it.
yeah,
Just
oh
in
yeah,
terms of okay, I'm not, regardless of how good a shape I'm in, I'm still not 25 anymore.
yeah.
Like this, because it also occurred to me that this is my 10th summer doing this particular program, and it's
So what gets me, and I'll tell this little story and then we'll move on. I'm about the age now that one of our scoutmasters was when we went to Philmont, and he was kicking all of our asses.
exactly, and that's the thing, right? Like old man stubbornness and determination can go a long way.
Oh
Like
yeah,
none of these little bastards are out hiking me. I'm just feeling
oh yeah,
out hiking the little
absolutely,
bastards a lot more than I used to. Let's put it
yeah,
that way. Does that make
yeah.
sense?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Mr. Alexander. Well, for one thing, Mr. Alexander was a pretty cool cat. He drove a Volkswagen pickup, if y'all remember those, like a like a 1982, 1983 Volkswagen pickup. Um, and he would listen to World War I, World War II German marches
The man
along.
sounds like he enjoyed hiking.
He did. But what's the coolest thing about him was he was a colonel, a retired colonel from the United States Air Force, and he flew B-58 Hustlers.
That's pretty badass.
Yeah, yeah.
Big plane
So
go fast.
um, big silver flame, big silver plane that goes twice the speed of sound, and he did that on the regular. So yeah,
I was about to say
that's
one of the guys I used to work camp staff with just graduated weapons school for AC-130s
oh nice,
to fly AC-130s. Yeah,
nice.
because apparently when the job of the pilot is to point like a shitload of guns at something, you have to be a pilot and go to weapons school.
Yeah. Well, you got to know the angle to pitch the aircraft.
Yeah. Again, I mean, you're
So
quite
so you can
literally just
so
pointing a
you can
shitload of weapons at something.
so you can get that 105 millimeter zoned in on you know your
Mm-hmm.
target of opportunity.
Yep.
Because who doesn't want to rain hell down on your enemy using field artillery?
Yes, you have an airborne medium howitzer. Well,
Yeah.
World War I or World War I medium howitzer, World War II medium esque, now light howitzer, but even so.
Yep. So, but speaking of aircraft, I've got all my bombers done.
Dude, they look awesome.
Um, I've got the bombers done. I've got the base coats for my the P-51s were easy. I just spray painted them. You know, half of them green, half of them are silver. I picked up an aluminum spray paint. That was easy. Um, and I now have the base color on all of my Messerschmitts and Focke-Wulfs. So now it's going to be putting that darker tone on the top side of the German airplanes to get them prepped so I can start decaling. I'm still in that time frame that if I can get the that part if I can get the Germans to the point where I'm ready to start decaling, I'm still in that time frame that if I do one airplane a night, I will be done by Battles and Brews.
Hell yeah.
So, yeah, I'm really pumped about that. I've got the farmhouse for the Quar project done.
Your farmhouse?
Yeah, the,
Oh dang, look at that.
yeah.
Are you guys
This,
setting this thing in like Normandy or Italy looking stuff, it looks like?
well, this is a French farmhouse,
Okay.
um, but it's I made it only 80 tall, so it fits right in there. So here you can see a door,
Yeah.
um, and it is I can take it apart. There's stuff on the inside if we wanted to worry about it. But this is the same STL that we printed up for the 15 millimeter World War II table that I do for
What a
what?
tanker?
Yeah, it's the
Absolutely.
exact same house. I've got um, plenty of walls
What
done.
who makes this?
Terrain maker, terrain something I can't remember.
Okay.
Um, the but yeah, it's a good set. Um, got the corners printed. These I've got one more set of walls that I want to get printed and over to Jed because he's gonna. I'm hoping he will do the painting because he does building painting a lot better than I do. Mine looks like trash compared to what he can produce really quickly. I like how he paints his the buildings. And Josh Coltieri, on his tribes on 3D,
On my
whatever.
mini factory?
Yeah, my mini factory, on his tribes group. He is he is releasing one tractor, i.e., tank,
Tank, yeah.
per month. Last month was for the Coftrans. This month is for the Crusaders. But and he's swapping back and forth a different tractor each month. And so what we're hoping to do is do uh, what a tractor at Tacticon.
Hell yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, in 28 millimeter on the same board that we're going to do what fistful of quar.
See, that's
So
badass.
yeah, I think we're going to have a lot of fun with it. Um, we're looking to have we're looking to have a total being able to have up to 10 players in Fistful of Quar. I'm gonna have I'm hoping to have well we're gonna make sure we've got enough for at least six. I'm definitely gonna have enough for uh, two, possibly as many as four 5-man teams of Crusaders. Jay is going to have at least 4 to 6 uh, Coftrin Royalist teams, 5-man teams, and yeah, it's gonna look good.
I do not say this lightly, but fuck me up with Quar, dude. Give me what you want painted. Because they look cool, and as long as the paint job expectations aren't obnoxious, they are like the perfect, holy hell, let's knock out, 10, 20 of these things.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
So he's got a full section. That's two 10-man squads and is Keratin uh, built. I've got
yes.
15. I've got 5 more to go to get my full section completed. Um, I and we're wanting to add some, other guys like the cook. So, um, but yeah, we're hoping to be able to get a 4-man game ready by the 4th of July. So I got a lot of work I got to get done to get them painted up real quick. Um, because our buddy Eric and his brother is coming out on that Sunday on the weekend of the 4th of July, and we're wanting to put a game on with as much as we can, and then Jay is going to have a retirement from the National Guard game weekend uh, at the winery here in October, and we're wanting to be able to have uh, a full on dress rehearsal of the games that we're hoping to put on, or that we'll be putting on in Tacticon. So that's where we are with that. And then the other two games that I'm doing at Tacticon. So yeah, I'm going to be part of 4 damn games at Tacticon. Um, is I've got the ships figured out that I'm going to use for my what if they did the first and second naval battles of Guadalcanal in the daytime.
Nice.
I've got the ships picked out. I just need to get the PD or the STLs purchased from Gukek and printed. I'm going to be doing them in 1/4800th scale this time.
Yep.
That's what I love about STLs. I can test out the different scales to see what is going to work for me for everything.
Oh hell yeah.
So, um, so yeah, and then I've got uh, I've got lists built for my force on force game that I'm running with Reese. So I've got the U.S. Marines worked up. I've got the PAVN worked up, and I'm gonna work up on uh, getting the VC figured out. I got to get with him to see how many he's got of each guys of each type of guys to figure out exactly what we can do. So we'll have to see there. But that's where I am. I think painting up the core is going to be a lot of fun because they're just so they can be whatever color I want them to be. They can be blues and yellows and pinks and purples and greens and oranges and whatever. And then I think what I'm going to do for their uniforms, I think I'm going to go. I think I'm going to probably go. I'm thinking either khaki or like Prussian blue for the pants, and then green, a light olive green, light olive drab for their jackets. I think. I don't
So
know.
with Quar,
Yeah,
are they all the same like species of guy? They just are different
yeah,
size?
yeah. So they're all the same critter. You
Okay.
know, it's just you've got different nationalities.
Yeah.
Half the nationalities are wanting to retain the royal families, as it were.
Okay.
Then you've got the uh, the royalists are led by the Koftrans from Koftir, and there's
Yes.
other nations that have aligned with them to keep the old families in charge. Then you've got the Crusaders, and there's different nations there, and they've been fighting for 700 years,
Yes.
and they're at the late World War One, early 1920s tech level of if they were human, that's their tech level basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're just eh, the more I work with them, the more I fall in love with them because they're just you will hear me say this over and over again. They've got more character in that little snout than an entire Space Marine chapter has. It just oh, I'm gonna reach out to Josh Qualtieri, the guy who came up with them, and see if he would grace us with his presence on the uh, graces on the presence on the show here. Um, you know, get a chance to talk to him about them and see what might be coming up in the near future because he's commented that the Quar have really taken an explosive jump in popularity since the plastics came out.
Yeah, I mean, I know they've existed forever. I've seen them in the past. Um, and it was always kind of one of those, like, because the metals used to be kind of expensive.
Yeah, it's
Um,
one character is $6.
yeah, it was kind of one of those, well, that's cool, but even if I
Yeah,
wanted to do it, it's a little expensive. That said, yeah, plastics are different, and 3D printing is a whole different thing beyond just being plastic. Uh,
right.
so, yeah, toss me some models or something, Chris, and we'll have them on, and we'll see how many Quar we can paint while we talk with him.
Yeah, there we go.
That's
Yeah,
always something game designers fucking love. Is this idiot just painted 10 models while we were talking? Um,
yeah.
I know Thomas got a kick out of that, and
Oh
Forrest
yeah,
did.
when you did all those rabbits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good times. I no, they really are. They got all kinds of cool stuff going on.
Yeah.
Um,
So, but yeah, that's what I've been working on. Obviously, like I said, I've been working on my deck. Um, Don and I, Jay and Joey came up Saturday morning, and we're here for about 2.5 hours to get us started on ripping it apart. They he had to Jay had to take off to go to work. Um, but Don and I spent the rest of the day, you know, taking up 4 or 5 boards and then resting, and taking up 4 or 5 boards and then resting. And then the last couple of days, like I said, it's been hotter than Hades. And the problem is this the back of the house is south facing, so the
yeah.
sun just beats hell out of you. Plus, it's a white vinyl siding, so we've got the reflection going out. You can maybe tell that I've gotten some sun. um, so we wait. Now we get home from work. It's in complete shade, and even though it's hot, if we can get a decent breeze, it's not too bad. We get another 3, 4, 5 boards on there. So we're almost halfway done. We're one board shy of halfway, and I just realized I have to order 2 more boards to finish out. Uh,
Well, that's okay. You got a couple days before you get there.
yep. Yeah. So, um, what do you got going for Battles and Brews?
For Battles and Brews, I think I'm finished printing, to be honest with you. I printed out all those little rock islands from
Oh
that
yeah, yeah, yeah.
interior cavern.
You're doing pirates.
Yeah, we're doing pirates on sunswept or on sea swept rocks. So I got a ton of little rock islands that are all like anywhere between 4 to 8 inches across,
Yeah,
and a ton of bridges, like rope
yeah,
bridges and bridges that look like docks, connecting them all. And it's just going to be one of those maelstrom pirate games, right? When
yeah.
um, where everything is interactable, right? So there's monsters everywhere. There's shit you can pick up or knock over for victory points. Everything.
Yeah.
So I've been looking at what sea type monsters I've got. Been finding some more sea type monsters and some more creatures like that, whether they're mermaids or anything else. Giant fish, octopuses, krakens,
Nice.
you name it. We're putting it on there. Weird lighthouse keeper looking guys, um, a sea hag, just everything, right? So that should be quite interesting.
Well, with sea hags, mermaids, and krakens, you know uh, who you're going to get excited to play that.
Sounds like a Mike Burke game.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, Charles, I did find the oh geez, what do you call them? The zombie shark from, I think it's Reaper. That or whoever else, if it's like Whiz Kids or whatever, makes little single plastic models. Yep,
Yeah.
yep. Made got a zombie shark or two. Yep. I think I
Nice.
found a zombie dolphin, maybe. I don't know. But yeah,
Dolphins are
so
assholes.
dolphins are assholes, and that's why we're gonna kill them. But yeah, so it should be quite entertaining, to say the least. It 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 will be good. I'm excited to see it.
Cool.
Yeah,
So here's the deal. My understanding is there's not going to be any set schedule or anything like that. So I'm going to get there as early as possible on Friday. I'm going to pick a table, and that's where I'm going to set up camp. Copeland is going to borrow my indoor scenery because he wants to do a Fistful of Lead Battlesuit Alpha game using that
nice.
stuff. And what I figured we could do is, you know, instead of you trying to finagle into a table, just drop your stuff at my table, and we'll just that's us. And
That's
when we
fair.
want to play your game, we'll play your game. When we want to play my game, we'll play my game. When we want to play Copeland's game, we'll play Copeland's game.
Makes sense.
So just that way, we've got our spot, and when we get enough people interested in wanting to play something, we throw it out.
Absolutely.
Um, but yeah. Oh, do you have a zombie sharknado?
I do not, but I'll work on it.
I had a friend that made a sharknado. He made a wire armature and put quilt quilt batting around it, spray painted it gray and black, and glued plastic sharks into it all over the place.
That just kills everything it touches.
Yeah, exactly. Just,
Maybe I'll try and find some sort of
Mhm.
sea dinosaur neopleurodon thing or some shit, so
There
that
you
we
go.
have dinosaurs also.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, but that should be pretty bad. I'm looking forward to it. That's always a good time. It's a fantastic venue, and
Oh
it
yeah, it is.
starts at noon every day, so it gives you plenty of time to run over to like tabletop and shit, and
Yeah.
really get a good look around, which is nice because that place always has cool stuff, and it's nice to support, you know, local hobby shops, even when they're not really even that small. Um,
No, they're pretty big. Um, they're not big in the sense that they do a lot of online stuff like Miniature Market does,
yes,
but uh, if they don't got it, they can get it. If they can't get it, you don't need it.
yeah, they have a
Well,
very pronounced and distinct presence in that western side of Missouri and eastern Kansas.
oh yeah,
So
definitely. Um, So yeah, it's just about and not just miniatures. They've got just a plethora of board games.
Accurate.
Not a whole lot of war game, hex and counter games.
I mean, they've got a good amount
They
of
got some
GMT
stuff.
selection.
Yeah, they do have some GMT stuff there, some DVG stuff, um, and like I said, if they don't got it, they can get it, type of thing. So, um, but yeah, it's I've known Phil.
Hey, I gotta call coming in. I'll be right back.
Okay, yeah, I've known Phil. He's the owner, going on more than 30 years. Um, he's a good dude, um, and it's just it's a good. It's if you're ever in the Kansas City metro area, hoof on down to Overland Park, Olathe area, and hit it up because it's a good store. Um, and I think a lot of it has it it's kind of like a almost like a backbone of the Kansas City gaming scene, um, and it's part of the reason I think why Kansas City has got such a good gaming scene, which is really kind of interesting. Why you've got such a good gaming scene there, but you don't have we haven't really had really big. We've had great game conventions. We just haven't had big game conventions. Um, we had recruits, and I think the biggest we ever got was like 475, 500 going to that. Um, and then there were the all the HMGS uh, conventions, but those started not being fun to go to because the guys running it were a bunch of jinkweeds. Um, so, oh, hi, Plus. How are you? You're a good girl. Um, oh, come on, Nord. So you, cat. So you don't like my T-shirt, Nord? You can't despise the Chiefs. Come on, back to back, baby. Going for a three-peat. Um, but yeah, Mike, meandering Mike, miniature market it's a good store, uh, but they they seem to be a lot more internet based. Don't get me don't get me wrong. It's a good store to go to, but excuse me, um, it's the the there's a big difference between miniature market and tabletop and an in-store experience. Um, just there's just so much at tabletop. So, um, okay, I understand, Nord. If you're a Raiders fan, I get that. I get that. Um, the only reason why I ever liked the Raiders, and my mom was the same way, and I get this from my mom, is because she went to college with Gene Upshaw from the Raiders. So, um, yeah, they're the Oakland Raiders. Always will be. Just like I know they were the Los Angeles Rams, but then they became the St. Louis Rams, and then Stan Kroenke uh, decided he wanted to move back to Los Angeles and uh, said, "No, St. Louis can't. St. Louis isn't a football city." Yeah, my ass. That's why spring football they averaged like 28,000 at their at the 5 home games that they had this year for the Battle Hawks. Not a football city, my ass. Um, anyway, but yeah, and yeah, being a Jinqueed is a requirement when running HMGS events. But these guys um, took it to another level. Um, we'll just say that they they seemed to have idolized the wrong side in World War II. We'll just leave it at that. Um, but yeah, so but anyway, um, what is there? I know Chris Long has been building more and more onto his big table. Um, I plus if y'all haven't checked it out, he's got some videos up on his YouTube channel showing his stuff. It looks really good. That big printer is pretty amazing. I don't know how fast it is, but it's doing big blocks that are really pretty amazing. Um, Now my printer, it did these four um, these four walls in about 7.5 hours. It did these corners in about 2.5 hours. So I mean, it's not it's actually faster than my old. Uh, Come on, cat. Faster than the old printer that immolated itself, um, but still not real fast. But that's okay. I can set it to go just like tonight. I'm gonna set it to print the gate for this setup, and then we've got a couple of barns I need to print. Um, Looking to need to find an old truck that's gonna work well with my quar, because we want to put the truck into the barn on the table. And one of the things we're doing with the scenario is it's the reason why we're going to have fewer crusaders than we do royalists is that the crusaders are going to be doing a like a fighting withdrawal, but they have to hold onto their starting location for a certain amount of turns before they can jet out, um, because they're they're actually holding it as a beacon, a radio beacon for dirigible, and it's got to stay in place long enough for it to hone in on where it's supposed to be going, and then you know extricate themselves. And the truck is going to be there, and if the truck works, then that can get them, might get them out faster. Um, so who knows? But I gotta find a work, or gotta find a truck model first. Um, Nord says you're really struggling to get the motivation back to continue painting the 15 millimeter World War II stuff I had primed. What is it that you've got? Uh, what is it that you've got primed? Maybe I can. point you in the right direction to help maybe get you going. Um, Walkabout says he's also learning basic photography for diagram photos top down. There you go. Look at World War II tune stuff for a truck. Okay, I'll take a look at that. Did them in olive green or be a field gray and done. My fat fingers can't type anymore. Not very well at all. Um, Hot, damn hot. Yeah, it is, Jay. So, um, definitely, quit fucking about and paint it. It's early war German infantry is what I have primed. I think my enthusiasm for the project is dead. Well, um, is this early war West Front, early war East Front? Is it Africa Corps? Um, maybe watching some good movies might get you reinvigorated. That's anytime I'm doing World War II stuff, I'll watch, especially if I'm doing like U.S. infantry. Uh, I'll watch Band of Brothers, and that gets me excited again about the project. I'm not excited about you know what I'm saying though. Um, but yeah, it's Toon Krieg in Wargaming 3D. Okay, I'll have to check that out. I'll definitely check that out. 1939, 41 Germans right now mainly aimed at Poland and France. So either East or West Front. Okay. I mean, you can always check out Dunkirk. I have not yet seen the movie Dunkirk, but I hear it is excellent. Go on, Cat. Um, watching that and seeing the uniforms, that might get you going again. Um, so, uh, uh, Nordic says get a BB gun for target practice. There you go. Um, so, yeah, there's different ways of getting yourself. Or yeah, Dunkirk is very good. Yeah, you know, sit down, take a look at that. I know it is late war, but might watch Hacksaw Ridge. Uh, the buildings for Toon Creek might interest me also. Okay, all right. I will definitely check it. Well, let's while we're talking here, let's go to you said where? Let's see.
Sorry, boys, duty calls. We're
That's
back.
okay. That's okay. Um, what is that? Wargaming 3D. Toon
What?
Krieg on Wargaming 3D.
Oh yeah. Oh, Jarnal. What's up, buddy?
Toon Krieg. Now I've noticed the vehicles and whatnot for these guys are interesting. And buildings look interesting. I've not been a fan of the actual characters myself. I don't know. They, they weird me out. um, but yeah, they're definitely the they definitely have the right proportions for you know they got the right proportions to feel Quar like. Um, I just the the miniatures themselves just, I don't know. Like I said, to me, they're the stuff of nightmares. Um,
They remind me of the um oh Jesus. The Gunfighter's Ball, right? Wasn't it
yeah, yeah, yeah.
the
Gunfighter Royale.
Gunfight Royale?
Yeah.
Gunfight Royale. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, it just, I don't know. It just, the for what reason the gunfighter royale I'm okay with.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I got the normal scale figures, but
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, the Toon Creek stuff just, uh, I don't know. Like I said, stuff of nightmares for me. Um, so, but anyway, so what else you got? What else you working on besides your pirate project?
Um, the nice thing about the Pyre project is that the miniatures are completed. Like
There you
I'm
go.
using all the miniatures that I'm using. I used last year. I think. I think the July the um oh geez, what do you call it? The Battles and Brews project, for the most part, in the main, it's probably just going to be a pirate event for me. Who knows? You know what I mean? I'm not mad about it. I like playing pirates. I think that the guys there jumped in really head first on pirates last year when it was 3 linked games, and I felt kind of bad because it was 3 linked games, which kind of ate up a good chunk of time.
Yeah.
So we might switch to 1 or 2 games, or we'll rock through a pirate game and then something else.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but I like the idea that I have a yearly, um, okay, I'm going to expand something else for that collection. That seems like a very appropriate and doable, uh, level of. It's a good way, as I found with projects in the past, to continuously add and improve an existing collection. Right.
Right.
I've done it with my 15 millimeter ACW, and it's worked phenomenally well. If I can continue that with my pirates with just a different time, all the better, right? Um, so that excites me. That makes me happy. Other than that, I'm trying to get behind wrapping up my last chunk of my 28 millimeter War of the Roses stuff. I have those 2 big units of men at arms that are done. I've got 3 units of oh geez, what do you call it? 3 units of Bidowers and Bow and Bill. How about that? Bow and Bill is an easy way to put it. 3 units of Bow and Bill to get done. Once those are done, that'll be essentially a wrap on um, that project for me.
Yeah.
Right, because what we're doing is it's myself and 3 other guys, and we are each doing a part, and then we can bring all our stuff together and have a quite sizable War of the Roses, game if we would like to, which is kind of cool. Um, the flip side of that is this next year, I think we're going to try and focus on 28 millimeter ACW, which, as you know, is to a certain extent the bane of my existence. But,
Yeah.
but we're not letting that get to our heads. We're going to run. I'm going to paint Confederates only. because I as I've said this more times than I can count on here. I cannot stand painting Union ACW. I don't know what it is. I can't stand it. I hate it. The pants piss me off.
Mhm.
Um, the the jackets piss me off. All of the equipment being black pisses me off. I don't know. For whatever reason, there's just a thing in my brain that doesn't like doing Union ACW. Luckily, I pointed that out and I said I will paint all kinds of Confederates. That's fine. Just don't want to paint Union. They said, all right, done. So here we go. I might, depending on how involved we get. I mean, I have a fair amount of 28 millimeter ACW already. Um, so with that in mind, most of, or the other guys are mostly using a Kickstarter that came out recently for some 28 millimeter ACW, which is cool. All good. As you guys know, big fan of Kickstarters, especially since Tim's one of them. So you will very quickly be, you know, covered in 28 millimeter resin in
Yeah.
the form of ACW. So if, depending on how far we get into that, it might be entertaining. I painted up some in 15 to paint up some of the local Missouri units. As you guys know, I'm a big fan of that. So if we can knock out, not just Missouri State Guard, but Missouri State Militia or Missouri Enlisted Militia or anything like that, that would be pretty cool, especially considering most of the Missouri State Militia and the Missouri Enlisted Militia involves essentially guys in some blue jackets, but mostly civilian attire with then white bands around an arm and a hat. So, depending on how that works, we can get that figured. So, um, I'm excited to jump into that. I did realize that I was getting ready to jump into that a little quickly, so I said, okay, maybe I will um, you know, hit the last of the War of the Roses stuff, finish out that project. That is a defined project. I have enough models for three more units. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't have just a bunch of War of the Roses stuff laying around. After that, I've got spares to complete a couple command stands. So wonderful, right? As we've talked about, that's part of my hobby journey is, achievable
Yeah.
hobby projects and achievable sized, as opposed to, getting more stuff that I'm going to need for any given project. I can just have an appropriate amount and then be happy. So once those 60 models are painted, I will be quite delighted and done with that project, given that the other guys have painted a few uh, a few extra cavalry units, which even for excuse me, even for Hail Caesar, we should be golden. Um,
Yeah.
Luckily, like I think we talked about this before. The reworks of Hail Caesar and Black Powder have worked out a number of the kind of I don't know about that, sticking points that I ran into the
Yeah.
first time I read through those. So very very happy uh, to jump in. Also realizing that I don't have to paint, you know, especially for Hail Caesar, I don't have to paint 24 units or 24 figures a unit. We can space these guys out a little bit on multi bases, and then if we want to play, oh geez, what is it? what's the Knights? Whatever. If we want to play Hell Seas with them, that's great. If we want to play something else with them, that's also great. We can do that. And it's 15 figures a unit. It's 5 figures each on 40 by 60 bases. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. So it works real well with bases of Bill and Bo, because you've got a center base with Billman and then 2 bases with Bowman.
There you go.
And it breaks down really well when you buy those figures in 30 packs, because then all of a sudden you've got 2 30 packs of Bowman and 1 30 pack of Billman. Granted, it's a lot of figures. It's fine. You can break them down because it's War of the Roses. So for the most part, you can have semi-unified liveries, such that if you want to paint them all one color, you lump all the same sculpts together and you go from there. If you want to paint them in liveries, you lump one unit together, get those done, do the next. It's also nice because War of the Roses, and especially with the Bow and Billman, they're not rich. Most of them have browns and tans and a livery coat. I did get mostly guys in livery coats, so that way there is some color to them, which is always cool. But there doesn't have to be that much to the point where it's going to be a pain in my ass. Right? I'm going to be able to just kind of go with what I've got and not have to worry, which I'm excited about, needless to say. So yeah, it worked out quite well with the Men-at-Arms. The Men-at-Arms, as always, are just dirt balls easy, right? Because you prime them silver.
Yeah.
And then you can dry brush, but you don't necessarily have to. So you can certainly, at that point in time, just kind of go with, well, okay, here is a wash. If they have livery coats on or something like that, if they've got cloth, we can do cloth. If they don't, sweet. If we want to pick out, one piece of armor as being particularly bright or particularly dark, since not everybody always has the shiniest, newest stuff, that's fine. We can do that. If we don't want to, we don't want to, and we don't. So that was pretty cool. I was delighted to do that, and it's funny, right? Because I'm doing this with, like I said, Tim and another guy and two, and so they are phenomenally good painters. And then you got me over here just slaying through figures. Like, I think we might have been on a stream when I painted those Men-at-Arms, because I shit you not, those 30 dudes painted up in, let's just say, an almost embarrassing amount of time, right? It was like an hour and a half, 2 hours. You go back through, you pick out what might be brass, or in the case for crown, gold, and then you just go ape shit, right? Because there's really not. It's easy to not kill yourself on them, which I really enjoy. Which is also something I really enjoy about the Men-at-Arms, because I painted up a couple command stands for the Men-at-Arms, and I painted up Men-at-Arms in the past. You guys saw the Robin Hood project, looking like a lot of the same sort of stuff there. So it's always nice when you have a hobby project where you know your end goal, you know how you're going to get to your end goal. It's just slotting in the time of, okay, I need to have these miniatures on sticks and primed. That way when it's, I want to paint Men-at-Arms. Bam, wham, bam, Men-at-Arms are on the painting table. Wham, bam, Men-at-Arms are painted.
Yeah.
That's how I break my hobby funk, Nord. I know you were asking about breaking your painting funk. Paint something different. Make sure you've got a variety of stuff painted and on the table ready to rock. And you would be surprised by, at least for me, I'm consistently surprised and pleasantly surprised by how well I'm able to transition to, okay, I want to paint this today. Oh, cool. What do you know? There it is. Bam. Painted. Done. With me, it's always painted. Now I got to base it. But you get my point.
But
most of you don't have the aversion to basing that I do, so it's not an issue.
basing is easy when you use base ready material from Geek Gaming Scenics at
Accurate.
geekgamingusa.com.
I appreciate you guys continuing to order. I am not there packing because I'm down in the middle of nowhere, but continue to order. I know Tim appreciates it. I appreciate it. It's good times. And, I mean, more so than any of that nonsense, it's also really good and really easy ways to get stuff done and get stuff painted and get stuff on the table looking badass. Because unified paint or unified basing scheme is every bit as important to making your figures look good as a unified paint scheme. Take it from me, it has improved many of my armies.
You know, like I've said earlier tonight and many times before, it makes your meh models look good, your good models look great, and your great models look amazing. With no doubt.
I forgot. That's another thing I'm working on as part of a group project is, as you guys know, I adore local wargaming history. Unfortunately, I don't live, out by Nord and Jeffy where they got all kinds of ACW stuff. Even though Missouri did see, arguably more engagements than anywhere else, they're hard to wargame because they're not notated very well. And most of the time, it's well on this day in history. Bill Hicks shot at John Williams and killed him.
Right.
Bill Hicks was a Confederate and John Williams was a Union sympathizer. So it's a Civil War battle. Those are harder to quantify, but there is a local project going on to support, back up, and, deal with the to deal with the Battle of Cahokia. So I volunteered to paint. What was it? So we're putting on. Any of you guys who want to hop on the Google machine and look up Big Muddy Historical Miniature Gaming Society. So it's the local HMGS chapter. You can find really amazing photos of Academy Games Vikings and their American Revolution game and their French and Indian War game and the War of 1812 game that are put on by a local guy named Pat, who does a no-shit phenomenal job because he takes war games and he makes the boards on 4x2 sheets in 3D. And it is cool as shit. Todd can attest. They are gorgeous. He put on, I think, Vikings at DICON recently. I have played on every one of his tables now, both through Vikings, the French and Indian War, I think it's 1758 is the title of the game, 1776, and then 1812. They're phenomenal. But we are converting the Historical Gaming Company game for the Battle of Cahokia to the tabletop using that same style. And I am painting the 15 millimeter British Native American allies, which is awesome because let's be honest here, I just painted a shitload of 15 millimeter Indians for this 1812 project. And the uniform didn't change much over the 30 years interceding, to be honest with you. Because you're still on the edge of British colonies. You're just moved about 300, 400 miles west. I got to pick up some stuff from my parents, so I might come in and out a little bit here. But, yeah, so that's pretty slick. Working on that's on my hobby project as soon as I get back from Cape Chris.
Very cool.
But so we might get, well, we probably aren't going to get War of 1812 and 15 millimeter on the table anytime soon. So I painted up 4 French units, which were 4 units of French, or 2 units of French regulars. Or no, I'm sorry, they're all French regulars. There are 4 units of French regulars, 2 with red facings and 2 with blue facings. So that's good. Got to do militia the same way. And then I've painted up native allies. I kept them outstanding. I painted up the native allies in a rather agnostic scheme, so I can use them for the British forces or the French forces, because both sides use native allies. I also have a good number, like I said, of French militia as well as English colonial militia.
Oh, he said he was going to drop in
Using
and out.
rebel. Oh, okay. Yeah, like I said, I had to leave the house for a minute, so I had to pop off Wi-Fi onto cell service.
No, you're good now.
Yeah. But so that should be cool. That'll just need some British done, and then we'll probably take that maybe to whatever Jay's putting on in the fall, because that'll be a good historical kind of rendezvous with rebels and patriots. So, yeah.
Very cool.
Absolutely.
Well, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up for the night.
That makes a whole lot of sense.
Yep. So I want to thank everybody for showing up tonight. Nord and my brother Jay has been in here, and March Hare, Chris Long, Charles, as always, Hissy Cat, Mike, Telemachus, all you
Hexy
guys.
stopped by.
Yeah, Hexy dropped in real quick. I want to thank every one of y'all. We didn't get a mutt sighting, but his world has turned upside down, sideways, and inside out. So I don't blame him. Scala was here, so yeah, good times. Hopefully, I'm going to be able to get sit down and not only get more of my planes painted, but I'm hoping to get some paint onto some of these quar, and I'll show them off to you. So yeah, good times. So anyway, everybody take care, and until next time, we will see you on the flip side.
See you guys.